Welcome back to Columbia Auto Service. Today we have another day full of misfires. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 that I know of here right now that have a misfire running rough problem. This Buick, I had left the purge solenoid unplugged all night, thinking that the purge solenoid was open, because it's setting a code for a purge solenoid also on top of the misfire code and the oxygen sensor codes, thinking that maybe gas fumes were getting in the engine while it was just sitting there and it was causing it to run rough and miss when you first started it up, which it could be, but I left it unplugged all night and started up this morning with it unplugged, not having no line to the fuel tank, and it still had a misfire to it when it was cold. So I've sat here and fooled with it a little while, and I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to have to move on. I've got another Toyota down here that's the same one as that other one. This is a 2013 Toyota Corolla. The other one was a 2011 Corolla, and it's got the same thing. It's a misfire on number 3 cylinder. So I'd already yesterday afternoon, last night actually, I went ahead and diagnosed it. It needs a coil. We're going to do the same thing we did the other Toyota, put a coil, 4 spark plugs in it, and it should take care of that problem. So I'm not going to video me replacing that because I've already done it on this other car out here. And then we've got this Nissan Maxima right here that's got a misfire. I pulled it up last night and checked the codes on it. It's got a misfire on number 1 cylinder, which is underneath the intake on the back of the engine. I don't think there's any way to get that coil out of there without pulling that intake manifold to test it. So I'm going to try to go ahead and get the coil and plugs changed out in this little Corolla right here. And then I'm gonna get this one in this spot and see if we can figure out the misfire on it. And there's our other Corolla we did yesterday. I left it sitting there. It's ready to go, but I'm gonna go out there and crank it this morning while it's cold just to make sure we don't have a misfire on it anymore. There's that phone. Two little Corollas. Same problem, number 3 misfire, ignition coil. It's the way it happens around here. Sometimes it just comes in bunches. But anyway, also other misfires, we got that Nissan Maxima right there has got a misfire on it. This Mazda right here has got a misfire on it. He had to pull it up here on a trailer, and he pulled it on the trailer backwards, and it busted his back window out. The pressure from going down the road busted his back window, so he had to put a tarp over it. And then we still got the Buick that's in the shop. It's got the misfire on it I'm not sure about. I thought it may be the purge solenoid staying open, letting gas fumes into the intake, but I tried that first thing this morning. That's not it. So we got to get back in there and get on it sometime today if we get to it. But anyway, I pulled this one up last night, pulled the code on it. It's got a misfire on cylinder number 1, which is underneath the intake manifold. So I'm gonna get the hood up on it. I don't believe there's no way I can get that number 1 cylinder to do any kind of testing on it without pulling the intake manifold. So let me pop the hood on it. It may not even be worth pulling in the shop today because I don't think I'm gonna have time today to pull the intake manifold. Yeah, it's number 1's on this side underneath this intake manifold. We may get to it later on today, but I don't want to get started on it today because I may not be able to finish it, and I'm closed until after Thanksgiving. Today's the Thursday before Thanksgiving week. So we'll move on to something else. See if we can figure that Buick out maybe. I don't know. Let me get back inside where it's warm and we'll work on something. I talked to the customer about the Maxima. Told him I did not have time today to pull that intake manifold and see about that misfire on that number 1 cylinder. The Buick, I'm not sure what's going on with it, and I don't have any more time today because it just does it and it's cold. First thing in the morning, it's got a misfire to it. And then as soon as it warms up, it quits, and you gotta let it cool back down before it start missing again. But I thought it was overloading itself with fuel from that purge solenoid, but that wasn't it. And then the two little Toyotas, we got them took care of. One of them's gone. I got one more misfire I need to check out today. A 2007 Mazda pickup truck. So I'll try to see if I can get it in the shop, see what's causing this major misfire. Maybe we'll have better luck on this one than we did on that Buick. '07 Mazda. No wonder it's misfire. It's got 348,000 miles on it. Oh yeah, it's got a bad misfire to it. It's not even gonna crank it in the shop. All right, our little Mazda misfire. Ended up having to push it in because I couldn't get it to start. Ended up being this ignition coil. Luckily, I had one in the spare back parts room that was bad on this cylinder number right here, number 1 was bad. But this one here was missing. Both of these right here was getting no fire out of them. So I just swapped it with another one that's missing on a different cylinder. Checked it on my scan tool. Did a power balance on my scan tool and seen that the misfire had moved. So he needs ignition coil. And this little Mazda, I think I'll just go ahead and let him know he needs ignition coil. And these are some crusty looking spark plug wires and some plugs. We'll go ahead and see if he wants to change them out too while he's got it here. And I'll look the vehicle over, see if I see anything else on it. Everything else looks good to be 348,000 miles on it. Which I think it's his little work truck. He takes care of it and runs it back and forth to work maybe. Anyway, yeah, that's gonna be it. Take care of another misfire. Maybe this will be the last one. Well, no, we got that Nissan. When we get back from our Thanksgiving break, we got to look at it. And then the Buick out there, I'm not sure. They may end up leaving it for the week. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and change this coil, these spark plugs and wires out if the customer wants me to. I'm sure he will. He towed it up here. If he was going to fix it himself, he wouldn't have towed it up here, but just a little word to the wise. He loaded it on his trailer backwards with this facing the wind. It's straight up and down. It doesn't have the front windshield angle to get the wind off of it. And as the wind was pushing against his back glass, it busted his back glass out. You can see the whole indentation here where it was pushing in on it. But it busted his back glass out. And I would have never thought about that either. I've never loaded a vehicle on a trailer backwards, I don't think. But I wouldn't have thought about that, especially on this here with this straight back glass. The pressure pushed on it and busted his window. So anyway, on top of a coil and some plugs and wires, he needs a back glass, something I'm not able to do. But anyway, my day's running right on by. Let me go call him and see if he wants to change those parts out. And I think that should take care of it. I'll get that changed out. It's 2 o'clock now. I'll probably have a little time after that. I may get started on this Dodge Journey, pull an intake manifold out to change out his rear valve cover gaskets because it's got a massive leak on it. But that's probably going to be after Thanksgiving before I finish it, because I am taking off the whole week of Thanksgiving. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. We appreciate you for watching from Columbia Auto Service. I hope everyone has a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. We'll see you on the next video. Appreciate it.